I would like to take a moment before we get into today's main episode and to talk about my sponsor for the podcast. Podmatch is a new podcasting site dedicated to all podcasters. The platform helps hosts get connected with potential guests to appear on their show, as well as allow guests to find podcasts that will give them a chance to share their story. Podmatch offers many tools to help organize your page, from to-do lists to episode planning to potentially appearing on a leaderboard. Podmatch has it all. The best part, you have the potential to get paid. And who doesn't like to get paid from home? I like to. With an easy sign up, you can start connecting with podcasters and guests immediately. I have been a part of Podmatch since the beginning of May, and I have got to say that it was the best decision I've ever made because Podmatch helps your podcast grow. It helps you get connected with people that have very interesting, very compelling background stories that are just waiting for their story to be shared. So if you are a host or guest and would like to start building professional relationships, explore more opportunities, and have your story shared, I highly suggest that you sign up with Podmatch today by going to joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to start expanding your network in seconds. I would like to give another huge thank you to Podmatch for sponsoring this episode. Now on to our main episode, and again, you can sign up at joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to begin your podcasting journey today. Hello everyone, welcome to the Lethal Venom Podcast. This is a show where I talk about anything I want with the honest to God truth, no lies told. And today I'm joined by Zulma Williams. She is known as the swearing therapist. She is also a licensed clinical social worker. She is a mental health therapist who likes to keep it real and swears a lot. She is founder of the Dragonfly Therapy Services. She's also a podcaster, motivational speaker, and breast cancer survivor. So she's going to be joining us and telling me a little bit about her story and background. So, Zoma, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Noah, for having me. It's such a pleasure.
So, if you could just tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I moved to the United States at 31. I was working in a big corporation doing accounting, and I was 42 at the time. And I was reflecting upon my future. I'm like, I'm not sure I want to be doing this for another 25 years. So I started school. I always had this passion for helping others. And I enrolled in my Bachelor of Social Work at 42. I graduated at 46. And I was on track to do my master's. And 6 weeks after graduation, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Spoiler alert, I survived. Here I am, right? Like so, but clearly I put in a stop to my higher education, took care of my health. I moved back to Argentina to be close to my family. And after 3 years of being there, I moved back to the States. Um, I was a month short of turning 50, and I wanted to turn 50 here. And I came back, and I asked God for a sign like this is the right thing to do. And be careful what you ask for. So out of nowhere, I received an email from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, saying like, "Hey, we have the advanced program, social work program. Do you want to enroll?" It's like, okay. I asked for a sign, and I get a fucking banner, like so. I was like, yes. And I moved back. I celebrated my 50th birthday. I started my master's at 50, graduated at 51, and became independently licensed at 53 and a half. So currently I work with clients who experience trauma, anxiety, and depression. And but my clients are motivated to get better. Like, I cannot want this for you more than you fucking want it for yourself, right? Like, it's like, do you want to get better? We are going to hit the ground running, but I'm not going to be holding your hand like, oh no, it's okay, you deserve to get better. Like, life is too fucking short. So that's basically what I'm doing now, in addition to my own show, Keeping It Real with Zulma, the swearing therapist, where I'll talk a lot about different mental health issues, but also about everyday fucking stuff that is like, you know, that we all go through. So try to keep it real.
So, what was it like doing your master's degree at 50 years old? Was it difficult? Did you feel kind of out of place when you went and got it? Or how was it compared to probably someone that's younger getting their master's degree?
Right, I was kind of like the mom in the classroom, right? Like my classmates were 25. uh but I kept, so they kept me young, right? Like they were teaching me about fucking social media, like what do I know about Instagram. And I was kind of like teaching them about real life stuff, right? Like, so there was a lot of shit that we read in the textbooks that I experienced myself in my life. So it was kind of like, I didn't feel out of place, like, because studying my bachelor's at 42 was even kind of like worse, if you would, because the kids were 18 or 20 and I was 42, right? Like, so I was double your age in my bachelor's. But with my master was, I was double their age too, but it was a different kind of dynamic. And I found personally that professors kind of like older students, because they know you are there because you really want this shit, right? Like, it's not like, oh, because grandpa is paying for the fucking credits. It's like, you really want this. So it was an awesome experience for me. Like, some of my colleagues, we are still in touch 8 years later. And they are in their mid 30s, right? And I just turned 60 not too long ago. So, but we still have that relationship, and I became good friends with some of them. And it's like, it was a great experience. I always tell my clients who told me like, oh, I'm too old to go back to school. I'm like, motherfucker, like, I started my master's at 50 and English is not my first language. What's your fucking excuse, right? Like, so just tell me you don't want to do it, but don't tell me you are too old to do it, because I done it, right? Like, so you're barking at the wrong tree.
I tell people all the time, there's no age limit for college at all. If you wait forever, that's completely fine. I always thought it was odd to have people that were older than me be in college. I've had people be in their 30s be in classrooms, and I didn't realize until I came to Auburn that it was more normalized. It was kind of like they just fit in with the crowd. They don't feel shadow banned at all. They don't feel like they're not wanted. I mean, everyone in my classes was very, very respectful of one another, and they just kind of fit right in. I always tell people all the time, if you wait until you're in your 40s or 50s to go to college, that's fine. There's no age limit to get a degree. There's no timeline of you need to get this at a certain age and get that at a certain age. It's always do it when you want to, and who cares what other people think.
Absolutely. And I also think that, like, if like I got my calling per se at 42, but like my age is an asset in my profession, because I experience a lot of trauma myself, right? Like, so that's why I work with trauma. I connect with that. I connect with anxiety. I connect with depression, right? Like, so it's like, because I fucking experienced it in my own life. So it's like, when you are um sharing a traumatic experience, to me is an opportunity to connect and to help you feel better, right? Like, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, let's do it, let's tackle this, right? Like, so um being older also like made me bolder, if you would, because like I will raise my hand, I will ask the questions, I will read every fucking word in the chapter, right? Like, so it's like, okay, like, I didn't feel as if I was like make aside or anything. Like, I was like, I love my classmates, and a lot of them love me. A lot of them didn't fucking care, but that's life, right? Like, you're not. you're not coffee, you're not gonna make everybody happy. Like, okay, like, but I don't think it was an age thing. It was more like a personality thing that we didn't click.
So you mentioned earlier that you were a breast cancer survivor, and I'm so happy that you survived it. Congrats on that, on doing
Thank
treatment.
you.
Um, how did you deal with the diagnosis and treatment?
So when I was first diagnosed, I was 46, and my first reaction was, why me? Right? I was scared, I was overwhelmed. And then I reflected upon that question for a short period of time. And I don't have children myself, but I had my mom at the time. She was alive. I had my sister, I had nieces, and I had girlfriends. And I was asking, if it was not me, would I have preferred that it was one of them who got the diagnosis? And the answer was no. So I changed my question from why me to why not me. Like, so that I made a mental click. And then with a new question of why not me, I had a decision to make. I could sit in the corner and cry, waiting to die, or I can stand up and fight. And I chose the latter clearly. And I I went to each appointment with, like, it was kind of like what I chose to do, because if I'm choosing to fight this illness, I need to go and fucking have the treatment, and I need to go and see the doctor, and I need to have the mammograms, and so I did my part in showing up. But also I pray a lot. I do believe in God, and I pray a lot. And my attitude towards the treatment, it was most of the time was like, oh, I get to do this, right? Like, I felt privileged and blessed that there was a treatment available to my particular cancer. So I remember when I started radiation, uh, I so they like, I'm laying on the table, and I have one guy pulling this way and another guy pulling the other way, and I start laughing. My boobs were jiggling, and they were like, "Mom, are you okay?" I'm like, I don't remember when I had two guys pulling the shit beneath me, right? Like, so we start laughing about that, and then they taught me how to get prepared the next day, because I was having radiation every day. So the next day I go in there, I change into like however they told me, and I'm waiting to be called. And one of the guys came out, and he said, "Oh, you are here." I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't miss my tanning session for anything," right? Like, it was my attitude towards the treatment that I think, I had a couple of nurses telling me, like, we know you're going to be okay because your attitude towards this is different, right? Like, so I like to say, I had cancer, cancer didn't have me. If anything, cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist, because it didn't stop me, it only delayed me, right? Like, so, and that applies for any challenge that anybody is facing. If you don't allow that challenge to own you, you are having that challenge, but the challenge not necessarily had to have you.
I always had that same mindset of, because I battle with depression, anxiety severely, and when I first got it, had the same reaction as you. Why me? Why is it I got it, but no one else did? And I did have that moment of, it sucks that I have it, but I'm happy that I do because it helps me be able to connect with people that deal with it, that feel alone. And I've used this podcasting platform as a way for me to speak about it and be open about it and show that it's okay and normal to live with mental health issues. And even way before I had the podcast, I would always tell about it with my friends. I was a huge advocate for it because no one really, when I first got it, it was taboo. It was a thing that most people were not open to talk about. People were ashamed of it. And I was in that same minority as well, but after I opened up, people have said, I appreciate you so much for opening about it and be able to be a voice for it because it makes me not feel alone. It makes me feel that I'm comfortable, and I've had people be able to open up to me and be able to share their story with me. So I've had that exact same mindset of, well, why me? Why did I get it? But then it's turned into, I'm glad that it chose me because it it helps other people be able to open up about it and not have them not feel alone about it.
And I'm glad, thank you for sharing that, because I'm glad, like, mental health has so much, the stigma associated with it, right? Like, and then you start sharing, like, oh, I do have anxiety, or I do have depression, or I do have suicidal ideation. And then people start like, oh, you do? Like, because you seem so normal, right? On the outside. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, when I tell my clients, like, I go to therapy, or my therapist said, and they're like, you go to therapy? Like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm fucking human. Like, and do you talk about me? The last thing I fucking talk with my therapist about is your ass. Like, I did talk to my therapist about my own shit, right? Like, because I'm human, I deal with anxiety, and I had suicidal ideation since I was 15. And I'm glad I didn't kill myself. It also helps me to connect with people who are saying, you know what, I cannot go on. Because a lot of times, and if anybody listening is having suicidal ideation, please seek help, and seek professional help. But a lot of times I ask to my clients, like, do you want to die, or are you tired? And 8 out of 10 times is, I'm tired. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of pretending that everything is okay. I don't know how to fucking go on one more day, right? Like, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And so I say, when you are tired, you need to rest, right? Like, so killing yourself is not the solution. Suicide doesn't take away the pain, it just gives it to someone else. So pushing through one day at a time, and if one day is too long, 1 hour at a time, and if 1 hour is too long, 15 minutes at a time. Can you deal with this shit for the next 15 minutes? Well, yeah, okay, just push through the next 15 minutes. And then at the end of those 15 minutes, rinse and repeat. 4 of those make 1 hour, 24 of those make one day, 7 of those make 1 week, and so on and so forth, right? Like, so we don't one day wake up and we are not depressed anymore. Depression and anxiety are very chronic illnesses that we deal with every day of our lives. And sometimes we have flare-ups, and it's like, I cannot fucking get out of bed. And then other
Hmm.
days it's like, oh, I got this shit, like, and you move forward with life. But
Hmm.
the thing is that, to value yourself so much that you keep pushing through those 15 minutes at a time. Because if you picture however you are feeling right now, like, the rest of your life is too much, right? Like, so that's why we want to end it, because we want to end the pain. But if we can picture pushing through 15 minutes at a time, oh, I can fucking do that, right? I cannot deal with this the rest of my life, but I can deal with this for the next 15 minutes. And that's all what I'm saying. Let's keep pushing through 15 minutes at a time.
You said that you put that so well. That was probably the best explanation. I've, I've dealt with it young. Started dealing with it when I was 13, and I've had people be like, "Really? At 13? How could?" And I said, "Yeah, I didn't pick it. It just happened." And it wasn't taboo in my family because it kind of ran in my family. My mom dealt with depression. I think my grandparents dealt with depression too. So mental health kind of runs in my family. So it wasn't a shock to them that they got it because my mom was not the number one supporter, and she still is. She's so
Good.
supportive of me. She's been by my side ever since every step of the way. And it's back to what you said about people kind of get surprised a little bit too about really, you deal with like depression and all that? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, you seem so happy all the time. And I said, well, I can hide it really well. I
Right.
can very much hide it. I can smile and do do all this
And
stuff
be
and
normal.
be
Right,
normal
right.
and hide it. And people, and then I just don't really show that side of me out there because I don't want them to see me like that. But sometimes it's gotten to a point where they have seen me like it, and it's at first I was a little embarrassed by it, but I've grown them to do it all the time now. I'm more comfortable, but I still get people that are surprised and they're like, "Well, I didn't know you were dealing with stuff." And I said, "Well, I can hide it really well, and I can really put on a persona." And so it's, uh, you know,
But that is exhausting, right? Because
uh-huh.
you're using all your fucking energy to put that smile on your face, and then when you get home, you're like, oh, fuck, I can take one more step, right? Like, because it is exhausting. The
Yeah.
real vulnerability, the real strength is in being vulnerable and having not to everybody, because not everybody cares, but to have a couple of people where you can go and say, you know what, I cannot fucking do it. I just need to vent, and that they are not gonna get scared for you. Because once we are verbalizing this, then there is hope. The real problem is when I don't fucking tell anybody and I'm secretly planning that this is it, right? Like, and it happens a lot with people who are actively suicidal. They feel their best because they are seeing that the pain is going to end. So when people are depressed and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, like life is good, that's when we need to be more aware and on, like, on guard about what the fuck is going on. Because when I start giving away my books and I start feeling like, oh my God, like I got life, I love life, right? Because I love life because I know I'm going to end it soon. When I'm feeling the pain and I don't know when this fucking pain is going to stop, that's when I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know how to do this. But then we don't want the questions, right? Like that's why we put this persona, like everything is fine. I'm like, oh, I'm the life of the party. And I can fucking wait until I get home and I'm like, fuck this shit, right? Like,
No.
it's like, and I'm exhausted all the time because it takes so much energy to put that persona out there. So with the help of therapy, if you need to take medication, fucking take medication. Why the fuck are we so if you had diabetes, nobody's going to come to you with a dozen donuts and tell you it's going to be okay. They are going to tell you, like, did you go to the doctor? Did you have the insulin? Blah, blah, blah. When you feel depressed, people come to you and say, oh, you're strong. You're going to get over it. Bitch, back the fuck off. Like, this is a real illness. So we are so afraid of taking an antidepressant. And sometimes that's what we need in, so the therapy and medication, the best combination to treat depression and anxiety, because the medication brings you up to where you can do the shit that you need to do in therapy to help yourself feel better. And then eventually you can decrease the medication or even stop it. Please don't stop on your own, like with the help of your doctor. But once you start working on your shit and identifying and challenging the negative thoughts and doing the shit that you need to do, then maybe you're going to need the medication less and less because you're being an active participant of your recovery. But at the beginning, when you can barely fucking get out of bed, what is wrong with taking that fucking pill? Like, I think that because mental health is not visible, it makes it so hard to comprehend. It's also a cultural thing. I'm Hispanic. I was born and raised in Argentina. In the Hispanic culture, we don't fucking talk to a stranger about our issues. We talk to abuelita about it. Abuelita is the first one who created the fucking trauma. So No, abuelita is not the fucking answer, right? Like, so, but oh, we keep it within the family. What people are gonna think about it if you go to a stranger? That stranger is a professional that is gonna help you with your diagnosis and your treatment. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to talk to a psychiatrist about what is going on. And the other thing is that not necessarily you have to take the fucking pills for the rest of your life, which is something that a lot of people are afraid of. Or if I start taking this right now, I'm going to be taking it for the rest of my life. First of all, if you need to take it for the rest of your life and that fucking makes you function, what the fucking problem is with that? But second, not necessarily you had to take it for the rest of your life. So if that shit is helping you, what? No, I'm gonna be strong. I'm not gonna use the insulin today. No, you fucking inject yourself, right? Why
Yep.
is depression? So I always say depression and anxiety are the diabetes of mental health because it's so chronic and it's so prevalent, but we don't buy an eye for me using the insulin. But oh my God, like, oh, are you taking an antidepressant? What's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with your ass that you are judging me for taking care of my health?
Right. And people that don't have depression or anxiety, they don't really understand like what we deal with. And I don't blame them. I wish I didn't have to deal with it. So if you don't deal with it, be happy about it. But for people that do deal with it, don't feel like you're an outcast. Don't feel like you're useless and that it's the end of the world. There is medication and therapy out there for you. And I'm part of the thing of I wish therapy was free for everyone. I wish that was one thing that life would have for us for free. Because I think if therapy was offered for free, a lot of the problems that we have and people that are really struggling would get better. And it would be beneficial. My roommate's gonna hate me saying this story, but and I've not told this story on the podcast, but about a year and a half ago, my roommate went through a huge shift in attitude. And I was doing group therapy at the time. It was something new I was trying from school. Our school offered therapy for students here, and they also had group therapists that my personal therapist had recommended. So I started doing it, and around that time, my roommate was really going downhill, and he actually was starting to go downhill beforehand. He was drinking himself every night. He was just staying up in his room, this dousing his body with alcohol. And my other roommate at the time couldn't deal with it because he doesn't deal with any of the mental health struggles that I particularly deal with. And he's told me, he said, this has happened to him in the past before. He's gone through this all before. And then when I was in group therapy, he had just like a huge breakdown. He got into a huge fight with his friends over something that I'm not really still sure about. And my roommate came to me and said, "Do you think he needs help?" And I said, "From what I've witnessed, yeah, yes, I think he does need help." And he he's kind of in that persona. He has that personality of he doesn't want to feel like it's like he has this very masculine, and he's afraid that if he goes to therapy, he'll lose his masculinity. And therapy's more because I've even had my group therapy say, well, because our therapist has with way where you can anonymously request a wellness check on them, and like
Oh, nice. Okay.
and so they could like contact him, and they won't give you who it is. And I said, well, I appreciate that, but honestly, I'm probably the only person he knows that goes to therapy, so he could easily pinpoint and he'd be able to
Right.
figure out who turned him in. He would be like, "Why did you turn me in?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then here I am trying to play it off, and he's like, "I know you're the only one I know that goes to therapy." And then I said, "You know, I appreciate you guys offering that and recommending that, but I just know him and I know me that he would find out who it is, and then I don't know how his reaction would be from it. So I never did because I knew it'd come back and bite me in the ass. I know it would come back and bite me in the butt, and so I didn't. But I always just kind of kept updates with him, and he never did get. therapy or stuff, but he did get on, I think, some kind of medication to help with something. I don't know what it was, but he's better now. He still has, he's like me, has moments of tipping off the edge and kind of goes into a dark period and then gets happy again. But there was a point where I could really see myself in him because I went through a very bad depression anxiety spell, and which I was still young and couldn't drink at the time. And so minus the drinking part that he did, a lot of the stuff he was doing was a lot of how I was like a few years ago. And I even told my other roommate about it because him and his girlfriend came by the apartment and at the time and helped me clean it up because my roommate with him being so depressed, kind of left it a catastrophe in the living room and kitchen. And he came by and I said, if he doesn't get help, he's gonna be screwed, and
Right.
he's gonna regret that. I said he honestly needs to be in therapy. I think he needs to be on some kind of medication because the way he's acting is how I was about a year, at that point, 2 years ago. And I said he needs help ASAP, and he won't come and talk to me about anything. He won't open up about anything. He doesn't talk about it. And so I said, I don't know. I don't blame y'all for not wanting to be involved with it because it's something that, even I've gotten to a point where I don't want to deal with it because it's going to be draw me back. But I saw so much reflection. It kind of brought back memories about how I was. And I thought if he doesn't get help, he is going to regret it. He's going to go into a dark place and he will probably, if not, get out of it. And he, he's better now, but I think if he opened up and talked about it with somebody, he'd feel a lot better.
Right. When I had clients telling me, oh, my mom needs therapy or my friend needs therapy or whomever, right? I always tell them, like, you don't tell people they need therapy. Like, if I tell you, like, okay, no, you need to go to the gym. And you're like, oh, okay, well, let's go together. No, no, I don't fucking go. You need to go, right? Versus you're gonna be like, bitch, like back off. Versus if I say, I started going to the gym and I feel better. I feel more energized. I feel stronger. I feel right. Like, so that might inspire you to join me at the gym, right? Like, so with therapy, it's something similar where I encourage my clients to speak about how therapy helped them, right? Like, so it's like, oh, I was experiencing this and this, and therapy helped me with blah, 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 or whatever it might be, where never underestimate the power of planting a seed, right? Like, so you might share with your roommate, like, oh, I'm doing therapy, or I was in your shoes, or whatever it might be. Like, he's like, oh, leave me the fuck alone, or I don't want to hear it, or whatever. But then it's like you planted the seed, like, and you never know when is the sprout is going to come out, right? Like, so I think that group therapy is awesome because it's like, oh, I'm not the only one who is fucking going through this, right? Like,
Yeah,
we have that
100%.
bond that it's like, oh, I thought I was the only motherfucker who couldn't
Hmm.
sleep at night, and listening to other people, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, damn, right? Like, so group therapy is awesome, and also individual therapy. Now, going to therapy is a lot of work. It's not a walk in the park if you take it seriously. It's like you feel worse at the beginning because you are uncovering all this shit and that you've been putting under the rug, right? Like, you're sweeping under the rug, and now we are fucking pulling the rug and looking at this shit face on. But the way to come out of shit is to go through it, right? There is no way around it. If ignoring and being in denial work, we will be a happier society. It doesn't fucking work. So we have to hit this face on. But again, comparing to the gym, like, if you start exercising after a long time that you didn't exercise, the next day you cannot fucking walk, right? Like, your legs hurt, everything hurts. If you give up at that point, you'll never be strong, right? Like, is continuing to do the reps and going to the gym that makes you strong. With therapy, it's the same. At the beginning, it's shitty. You might even feel worse after you start therapy, but it's going to continuing to go to the treatment and doing your part. I don't work harder than my clients. As I said at the beginning, I cannot want this more than you want it for yourself. So you need to do the work, but we are in this together. You don't have to do it alone. So for your friend who might have felt like, oh, if I being vulnerable is a weakness, actually asking for that help and being vulnerable is the strongest thing that he might ever done in his life, because by recognizing that I need the help, I don't have to fucking we don't have to do this alone. We don't. There is help out there. There is low cost therapy in a lot of different states with mental health agencies that have students that will do it for free or very low cost, right? Like, so it's like, yes, I wish the therapy was free and we all can have access to it. But in the meantime, go to that community mental health, ask, like, call the number, text, like, you don't even have to fucking call. There is I think it's 988 for the suicidal text hotline. So it's like, there is help out there. You need to take that first step, realizing that your recovery is important, because nobody can be you. So that's why we need you here, because nobody can be you. So that's, if you take those steps and you get better and you continue to push through, even if you don't have anxiety or depression or trauma, going to therapy is kind of like, to our mental health, is kind of like going to the gym for our physical health. You don't need to have a fucking heart attack to go to the gym. Hopefully, you're going to go to the gym to prevent the heart attack. Going to therapy is like, you need that. We all need that neutral perspective, where I'm not, like, if I talk to, well, I have my friends. Your friends are unconditionally on your side. A therapist will be like, okay, so you say something, and then it's like, okay, let's explore, why do you keep attracting type of relationships that are not good for you, right? Your friend is going to be like, oh, that fucking bitch, or that fucking asshole. A therapist will be like, why the fuck do you keep attracting this type of relationships, right? Like, so we help, and I always say, I barely know what the fuck to do with my life, let alone to tell you what to do with your life, but we are going to find the answers together, right? So it's like, we are doing this together. This is a teamwork. I'm not doing it on my own. You are not doing it on your own. We are both working together so that you can feel better. But the one who's doing the work, I'm a guide, but the one who's invested in doing the work is you. If you don't do it, you're not going to get better, right? I don't have the magic answer and solution. We are going to find the answers together, but you need to go out there and apply those answers and those techniques.
For people that want to check you out and find you and learn more about you, where can they find you at?
Sure, at my Instagram at the Swearing Therapist, and my website is Dragonfly Therapy Services.net.
Well, Zulma, I appreciate you so much for joining us today and telling me a little bit about your story. It was an honor having you.
Thank you so much for having me. A pleasure.
And as always, I will put all of Zulma's links in the description box below. I'll put her website as well as her social media accounts down there for you to be able to find all in one location. I appreciate you all so much for listening to today's episode. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Lethal Venom Podcast, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Noah's Podcast. And make sure to follow Lethal Venom wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, Pandora. Basically, wherever you get your podcasts from, it's there. Feel free to follow them to be notified and get notified when you'll have new episodes released from me. As well as on social media, feel free to follow those accounts as well to keep updates about the podcast. Appreciate y'all so much for listening. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Y'all be safe. And I'll catch you in the next episode of Lethal Venom.